Okay, so hope everyone is fine and dandy. This is my next installment in my podcast series, and today we'll be taking on a very intriguing subject. It is about the interpreting of conversations in this society. So, we'll be breaking it down from various aspects, and for today, I have my guest as my father in his second appearance on my show, and my good friend Arpan Mal. Arpan, how are you?
I am doing absolutely fine, Ariman, and I am so glad that you agreed to invite me. Uh, and it is really uh, I should say, a heartwarming experience to connect with you once again. And
Okay, and
I cannot wait to get started.
okay. Hey dad, it's your second show part in my show. How are you? Your audio is off. Audio is off. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is it okay?
Yes, yes. You can go on.
Okay. So, thank you for having me again on your show. And this is a good thing that you have brought along one of your best friends, Arpan, whom I have met a couple of times. And I have always found him a very sincere and hardworking boy. So, I look forward to interact on this topic because this topic is related to life skills, basically what we do every day in our day-to-day activities, what we do nothing but converse, and through conversations that we emit or we exhibit our emotions, expressions. This topic is very interesting for the reason being that we are living in an age of information revolution. In terms of information revolution, that the knowledge is floating in such a way, that the way the whole globe has shifted onto the social media platform, what we have been doing on Insta, Facebook, WhatsApp, the degree and the width, breadth, and the length of one thing that has gone far and beyond, that is the conversation. So I'm very glad that both of you have chosen to discuss about it, the art and science of analyzing conversation, and I look forward to give my spontaneous inputs on that.
Okay, Arpan. And how about you? Since you were the person who brought up this topic, I'd like to know your current views on this. What are your thoughts? Can you elaborate on it?
There was this verse from the Bible that really inspired me to think more about this. It is that the tongue has the power of life and death.
True,
So,
very true.
so that is the main verse that inspired me about what makes a man say things that people could uh, connect to so deeply and um, so so logically that they could actually exhibit some of these uh, some of these things that we see in today's youth. That is, one of them is we've seen that people have taken to there has been a outrageous increase in the number of student deaths in the past couple of years, and that is a really sad news to hear. But what makes a person do that? Those things that we do. That is the reason why I chose that we should think over it, and we should try to elaborate uh, s- our our head spaces, and moreover talk about it. And there are people who are willing to help us, and people who are uh, willing to uh, willing to go and take us to some place better, to
Okay.
some place where we are not empowered to commit such acts of violence or something like
Okay,
that.
so yeah, I'd like to tell you about how this entire topic, has its significance in today's era. Because
Hmm.
since the interactions in this decade and the previous decade have a sun and ground difference among them,
Arvind, sorry to interrupt you, that I can't watch your video.
Yeah, I know. It's a configuration of Gmeet. Now you can my video just cannot be turned on, but it would be visible when the final video prints out. Okay. So
Okay.
there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of room in the types of interactions that we were doing 10 years prior and today. Okay, because now people are kind of, this term has come into our lives, social awkwardness, right? We don't tend to talk to each other as much as we did at that time, because since the inclusion of Instagram and Facebook, people have, preferred texting each other. So how, like, and the correct message just does not get across. Okay, because me and Arpan used to do all of this these lengthy discussions, and we tried taking our points of view by via using WhatsApp and Instagram, and somehow those points weren't getting across. Okay, because from his point of view and from my point of view, there were these two entities. There were two sides to a conversation, to any sentences. So Father, have you experienced anything like that?
See, I have experienced a lot of stuff that you guys may not have experienced because, of course, I was born much earlier and I have seen the society and the way society communicates. The things have been evolving to such the widest and the wildest extent. Let me put it in a very different way. That see, I would like to throw some light on how the primitive people, our ancestors, used to communicate. Okay, remember, just presume a situation that we don't have any particular language. Just imagine, because we all are coming from them, right? Look, just think about our ancestors, that they are having no script, they are having no language, but still they must be communicating. That's why they survived. Otherwise, can you imagine how they might have survived the onslaught of weather, the ravages of weather, the difficult conditionalities, but still they managed to survive because they emphasized upon the non-verbal ways of communication. Okay, through the continuous applications of non-verbal ways of communication and through the different sounds that they made, ultimately those things evolve into a scriptural pattern or a set pattern of communication. See, if it's a very long process, I would not like to draw down everything right from the primitive to the current one. But how the communication as a mode of medium of elocution, medium of articulation has undergone a sea change, I would just like to throw a few more important things here. When we are discussing the art of analyzing conversation, we need to focus one thing. There are two major aspects. One is the analysis, another is conversation. Am I right, Urban?
Yes, sir.
So, what is the point? How did the question arise? Like Arpan Mal quoted from the Holy Bible. So, even theologically, you would see that what Jesus Christ, what has been written in Old Testament and New Testament, is nothing but communication amongst different characters, no, different the religious people, Jesus Christ and his disciples. It's all about, and all these communications have been strung together in the form of incidents, histories, and stories. Okay, whether it's the Holy Bible or whether it is Holy Quran or it is Bhagavad Gita or any other thing. And the same thing has been gifted down from our ancestors since time immemorial to the current generation. This is the one aspect. Another aspect is about the art of analyzing conversation. When two people are communicating, what happens that they communicate from three levels. So you can take it as I'm for your education point of view, because you guys have got a long career ahead and you would be appearing for campus placement programs. So there are three things that when two people are communicating, they communicate from three angles basically. What is the one? This is the one is the will. Firstly, you have the will to communicate. Second, what do you have? You are communicating, you are conveying your emotions. True? Your will, your emotions, and then the interpretations. When I'm communicating with both of you, see, firstly, I have got the will to communicate, right?
Yes, sir.
And the most important thing is the content of the communication. The will, content, and emotions. When these will, content, and emotions are wrapped together, that actually gives birth to the idea of conversation, right? I desire to have communication on this art of analyzing conversation with both of you. One thing, now you can see through my physical gestures, through my facial expressions, you can see that the kind of emotions that I'm emitting, you can
Yes.
understand this. And now the content, what I am carrying in the form of communication. So when the two parties are communicating, basically what is happening that both the parties are trying to convey these three aspects. I mean, in wrapped in a different forms of sentences or in a different sentences. And you would agree with me that you would not find even a single exception when these three elements are not present. Like,
Yes.
for example, like Arman and Arpan are communicating after a pretty long gap. Say both of you are pursuing different programs into different cities. Say whether online or offline. I'm just giving an example. Arpan and Arman are meeting, and what would they say? Hey, Arpan, how are you doing? There would be a sense of exuberance. There would be a sense of enthusiasm for meeting his long lost friend after a pretty long gap. One thing, then you would inquire about each other's well being, isn't it? Then you'd inquire about each other's courses and then your past days, your days that you guys spent together at St. Francis. And much time has also flown down. When you were in class sixth, now you are undergraduates. Couple of years down the line, you would become postgraduates, and then the life would take a different stream. So, the depending upon the context and the content, the things keep progressing. That is the basically the art and science of analyzing conversation. I mean, this is to say that for your information or for your knowledge point of view. Okay, so now the changes which have taken place during last say after the India opened up its economy when we became global. Imagine that the first mobile that I purchased was the very day Arman was born.
Oh, wow.
And I tell you that it was I had two possessions for which I felt very proud of myself. One, of course, is Arman. I have always been proud of him. Secondly, a device that set me apart from the rest of the crowd. People used to wonder, "Oh man, you are having holding mobile." And you might have heard of this that we used to be charged by the companies for incoming as well as the outgoing calls. So when your mobile is ringing, so you are scared or something is stuttering on the back of your mind. Shall I pick up? Because the moment I pick up, 6 rupees is deducted from my account. Those days were there. But now the quality of conversation. Arman, what I am concerned and what I'm worried about, that the quality of conversation, though the means of communication have proliferated a lot, there is a word called unprecedented. There has been an unprecedented growth in the medium and the forms of communication, but I have no hesitation in saying that the quality of conversation has certainly gone down. That's my concern.
Okay.
People are throwing so much of dirt at one another. I was very active on Facebook. I was very active on other social media platform. But when I analyze, because I introspect a lot, what I found that there is so much of toxicity. People are, instead of using this medium as an agent of spreading positivity, exactly the reverse is happening. So whatever comes to your mind, because see, you are talking in a world which has no boundaries. You are talking with the people who have the faces, but they are the faceless community. So what you are doing, the exchange of blood, showing abuses, expletives. So these are something which I am quite worried about. So I would not carry it long, otherwise it would become a lecture, not a discussion.
All right. So, Arpan, would you like to comment upon the types of what happened to the types of interactions people used to have and are now having? What is the cause, root cause? Would you like to elaborate on it?
I believe that the quality of conversation depends on a lot many number of things. Uh, these uh, these things could vary from person to person and from background to background. And whenever I've interacted with people who had these kind of degradations, I've seen that they could be, you know, they could be suffering in some way, and or It is that their mind has been poisoned through some medium or something that that has led them to realize that there might not be much of a scope for improvement or something that that may have I am uh, that may have inspired them to become that way.
Hmm.
That and some of those things could be their social circles. Some of them could be their economic situations. Some of them could be um, their family problems and everything like that. And at the end of the day, their state of mind is poisoned, and they tend to they that is the main reason why they could start becoming as toxic or as abusive or if we have uh, or as explicit as we would as
I would
Sir
like
said.
to I would like to add,
Yes, sir.
Arpan has categorically and very lucidly expressed that whosoever is communicating in whatever ways, there must have been some reasons behind it. Because Arpan and Arman, you know that there is always a cause and effect relationship.
Yes,
Everything has to have a set of reasons. See, what basically I want to put across the board that when you are having face to face conversation, so you have got so many things going on in your mind apart from the conversation, right? I
yes,
give
sir.
you, if you allow me, then I can cite certain examples. I was
Yes, sir.
driving down from my place towards Hazratganj, and what I found, there was a lot of crowd gathered at a particular place. So out of curiosity, I just came out of my vehicle and just looked around what has caused such a huge crowd to have gathered at a place. There, what I found that a policeman was thrashing a rickshaw puller and using all sort of expletives. And you know, Arpan, that I'm also a kind of human right activist. Activist in the sense that I want to do everything in my capacity because I'm a government official. I can't go like any other Meda Patkar style, but in a way that I want to protect every all the humans are born with their rights and their dignity need to be protected at any cost. If
Yes,
we
sir.
are claiming to be a civilized nation, if we are claiming to be a civilized society, then I found that the policeman was a lower functionary, the constable kind. So I think, even, why are you thrashing him? Then he asked me question, who are you to inquire? And then when he looked at me, he looked at my personality, and then he realized that he's not a run-of-the-mill guy like rickshaw puller that he can use expertise and get away. Then the policeman said that this rickshaw puller hit my bike. I asked him a question. Ki suppose a person driving a high-end car might have hit your vehicle or might have hit your bullet or might have hit your bike. Would you have reacted in the same way you are reacting? Because on the back of your mind, you are fully aware that this man who is a rickshaw puller, I can thrash him, I can use all sort of expletives and get away. But had this been the same incident with some rich people, with some elite people, you would have reacted in a very different way. Arey sir, koi baat nahi sir, hota hai ye. You would have gone it. But see, the conversation is there, but
Yes,
the
sir.
context has changed. So the same person who might be communicating differently in the same situation. That's the
Certainly.
problem. Another is then when you are having face-to-face conversation, then you realize who are you communicating to, what should be communicated, what's the content of the communication, what should be the body language, what should be the physical gestures. All these things basically take a backseat when you are having the online conversation or the conversation in a faceless world. Okay, faceless world, one word, one sentence of the person you are communicating with hurts your belief, hurts your ego, and then you let loose your demon upon it. Isn't it? You let
Yes,
loose your demon upon it, presuming that no harm will come my way. Okay. No
Yes.
harm will come my way. So I can bring the worst sides. I can bring let the worst side, the best, the worst demons who exist within me to come off.
Yes.
Arpan must have attended those class of what we call catechism.
Yes, sir.
Catechism. I remember a story which I read in some books of Christianity because I believe I study a lot about those comparative religion. There was Jesus Christ while passing through a village. There he saw a farmer beating his cow badly, or say cow or bull, and using abusive language. Jesus Christ went to him, the person, say, please don't abuse this helpless animal. Abuse me instead. Then the farmer asked him, what are you saying? Why would I abuse you? My bull is not working properly in the field. He's not tilling the land. That's why I'm abusing and thrashing you. Why would I abuse you? Do you know what did Jesus Christ respond? He said, because we all are chained by the law of karma. We hear that karma is a bitch. It will bite. As you sow, so shall you reap. Isn't it? He
Yes,
said,
sir.
because you are abusing, but this helpless animals does not understand your language. He cannot respond. So, in order to pay back that expletives, he will have to be reborn. You will have to reborn as a bull, and he will have to be reborn as a farmer to settle the score. So, what do? You abuse me. So, all your karma is sorted out. So, maybe I'm not digressing it by narrating all these metaphorical stories, but everything what we do, Urban and Arman, actually, whatever we do, is nothing but conversing. We get up early in the morning, your mom offers, Erpan, you want to have a cup of tea? What's that? Being your conversation. And when you sleep, all throughout the day, the kind of conversations that you have had with different people, different entities, or different medium, different platform, all these things are basically getting into your subconscious mind. And then when you go to sleep, those conversations are reflecting themselves in the form of dreams. So my contention and belief is that what we are doing nothing. When you are praying to God, what you are doing, you are conversing with some entity, the divine providence. You are conversing. So conversation is such an important, all-pervading topic that we need to be very careful about this art and science of conversation.
Certainly, sir.
Please go ahead,
Okay,
Arman.
okay, okay. So you have said that the reasons for this much toxicity among our community has been due to the negative perception of community as a whole, and for us students, like take it as a person who doesn't like school. Okay, so it tends to make him more violent at times. Like. This is one of those reasons these people take up drugs and other drugs. Huh.
If I may interject, I would say that let us focus more on the positive aspects because otherwise, what would happen that the entire session would be moving around it because there is so much to talk about.
Okay,
Because
okay, okay, okay then. Okay,
about the, let us stick to the topic in its entirety, the art and science of analyzing
yes,
conversation.
yes, yes.
Let us, and Arvind would agree with me that let us make it focus it in a way that how can we make our conversation more effective? Probably that would be a good idea to carry forward. Yeah, please.
Okay. So, Arpan, would you like to tell us about the psychological aspect of this entire conversation?
Certainly, certainly. It stems from many aspects. Like it could stem from one of them is the emotional makeup of a person. It could stem from the sense of humor of a person. It could stem from the ways and methods that they are suggesting. It could stem from their social makeup, intellectual makeup, and very prominently, they can. It can also stem from their family background, and I could have a, a quite a list for you. And these are some of the things that I have thought about over the months, and it And to elaborate more on them, I would like to take you to how a person is because how a person's emotional makeup or uh, psychological makeup could be defined. Uh, I could only think of two things. One of them is emotionally stable, and the other is emotionally unstable. Uh, and when if we talk about emotional stability, there we begin from if a person has what it takes to uh, if a person has what it takes to sit silent when he or she is being the foot of the joke, if I am able to get across.
Yes, yes.
If he or she is able to take a joke on themselves and not react to it in some way or the other, or any part of the conversation for that matter, and not react to it at once in a violent manner, or in a manner that is offensive to the other party of the conversation. And that is what I think could be a person who has an emotionally stable makeup. Secondly, a person who could be an emotionally unstable person would be just the opposite. And this is how I believe a person could be uh, emotionally stable or unstable. And that is one of the main things that I believe would make up the psychological makeup of a person. So, if you would please elaborate on this with your years of experience.
See, Arpan, everything this psychological makeup is such a significant term, you know, that there are situations, everybody is born in a different type of family, in a certain surroundings, in a certain circumstances. Basically, as an individual, what you see, it's the accumulation of all those past impressions, the past experiences. You may have heard of many terms like the a child coming from a broken family. Okay, the child coming from a family which has seen nothing but poverty, so the child coming from a family which has got abusive parents, or the parents who have not had good relationships, the broken homes. So what happens at the end of the day, by the time a child who comes from these difficult circumstances in the background, they carry a lot of emotional trauma and baggage. Okay, then what do they do? It builds their psychological makeup. That's why it has been my essential belief, and by the grace of God, which I have practiced to the fullest, that you can do anything, but never give bad parenting or difficult childhood to any child, because you are an architect of the emotional and mental makeup of the child. You know
So true.
what a writer has correctly stated, that your child is not your child. You are just a gate. The God has given you such a responsibility to nurture a human soul, to which you should give your best efforts, everything. Please them. The God has given you responsibility. Otherwise, there are a lot of people, despite having 7.5 billion of population, there are many childless couple who long for the child, isn't it? That's why I say that the child having different circumstances, all these things, when they later grow up, it reflects on their degree of conversations, what they hold with their friends, with their peer group, with their seniors. And it has been proven psychologically, factually, that a child coming from having a very difficult childhood cannot have a decent relationship with his friends, with his spouse, because throughout the life, these child are seeking nothing but validation from the society. And
Yes,
when you
sir.
are not validated by your own parents, of course, the child would seek validation from the other members. I see, Arpan, we are discussing about the art of conversation, but this topic is having so much related topics like your societal, cultural, psychological, economic aspects. All
Yes,
these
sir.
things club together, and then it develops a personality. It develops into a child. I know a lot of people who have had a very difficult childhood, coming from very affluent background, but having abusive parents, a broken relationship, marital discord, what they have seen in their parents. So
Yes.
they cannot strike out a healthy rapport either with their friends, and when they enter into any kind of relationship, all this they are always having this fear on the back of their minds because their parental thing or what they have seen as a child is always dominating their conscious space.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that results into conversation. You'd be very glad to know that psychology is one of my major areas of interest. I work a lot on human psyche. I work a lot on human psychology, and a lot of people say that I'm a born psychologist. Though I also train myself by reading a lot of stuff on that. Because if you want to study a man, try to this conversation is nothing but the manifestation of your behavior. You want to reach out. Remember this the formula which I initially discussed
Yes,
that
sir.
the mind and then emotions. If I'm speaking, say, two friends meeting at a place, what you're doing, the communication is not only of words, the communication of two minds, through the
Certainly.
play of emotions. I'm saying through mind-to-mind communication. I'm sharing some facts with the other guy in the form of conversation. I'm sharing it. When I'm sharing it, what I want that I should be given a patient hearing because I uh, decide to confide my dark emotions, my dark secrets with you. I've tried to share my deep-rooted emotions, which what happens in many Western societies in America when the kids are pegged off after they turn 15. That's why they are having very difficult childhood, and the same thing is now started has now started happening in country like India.
Yes,
So
sir.
the point that you very categorically or very importantly raised about the psychological makeup, basically there is no denying the fact, and I would not hesitate to see or say that all these conversations emanate from the psychological makeup, which get reflected through the physiological makeup, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you are psychologically very happy, what happens that you meet somebody, say the two people meeting, there are three friends. When you meet one of them, you feel very elated because you know that that person has been very accommodating, the person has been very encouraging. But maybe the third one that you meet, that you treat them in a very neutral way because you know that this person has been overtly critical of whatever you say. And again, why that person is overtly critical of rebutting all your claims? Because that person is also trying to seek validation by dominating the space what he has not got at his place, maybe the workplace or at his home. So what he has been trying to do, or she has been trying to do, she has been trying to dominate that workspace in a company of three friends. For an example. So
Yes.
this is a too valid a point that conversation nothing but manifest the psychological makeup of a person. I would like to now know some views from because Arman is not turning out to be a moderator. I would also like to hear. Let us Arpan and I would like to hear his views upon this. Am I right if I say that all this conversation reflect either the happy state of mind or the neutral state of mind or the sad state of mind, but essentially they reflect the psychological makeup of the person whenever the person converses. Armin.
Okay, so I'm kind of torn between the two aspects. Okay, one is the emotional aspect, the other is the psychological aspect. So I've heard you guys, it stems from various reasons. So how do we like generalize the infinite variations of people that we come across our lifetime in schools and colleges? I just want to know that how can we differentiate between the emotional effect and the psychology behind the entire ordeal?
See, what you are doing, Armin, you are opening a Pandora's box.
Yes, sir.
It's such a huge topic that I can speak endlessly on that because ultimately the way all the rivers fall into the ocean, the same way conversation, which I have been trying to stick to this today's topic, because conversation is basically an all inclusive concept. It encompasses everything,
Yes,
everything.
certainly.
Now, the emotional aspect, the psychological aspects, two examples that when the sociologists talk about the kind of socialization that you have had. You know that kids growing up in slums, by the time they turn 10, they become addicted to drugs. But if an example, the same kids are brought up in a house like ours, then you will see that their behavioral changes are entirely different from their peer group and from even from their parents. So the socialization is a very important aspect. Socialization of two types, like the primary socialization and the secondary socialization. I would say that you guys have got a lot to see in the world, because you are growing. These two things are so important that it can make or mar an individual, the entire psychological makeup. The
Yes.
primary socialization, your interaction inside the home, and secondary socialization outside the home. And then you assimilate all these properties, firstly from your parents, from your grandparents, from your brothers and sisters, siblings, okay? And then when you turn 3, you go out to institution like St. Francis, okay? Here, your secondary socialization starts taking place through your interaction with your teachers, the principal, and other related groups. So if there is a proper combination, if there is a proper coordination in the primary and secondary socialization, it provides a beautiful psychological makeup. See, a child, what is a child? No? It's a clay. It's a clay. We are all bloody unpaid potters, that we have to give a certain concrete shape and to form to the clays that we have received. So each of us has to do, 10 years down the line, both of you turn parents, isn't it? I mean, the way the society runs. So maybe the things we are discussing in the guise of art and science of analyzing